I used to be a Flood Escape 2 god. Flood Escape 2, a game I had absolutely mastered years ago. The thrill of the chase, the pixel perfect jumps, the mad dash against the rising water, I had it all on lock. I wasn't just another player, I was a survivor. My brain was a Rolodex of every map layout. My fingers knew the exact timing for every jump, and my heart rate never even spiked. I lived in the hard and insane lobbies, collecting wins like they were free samples. So when I decided to come back, I figured it'd be a walk in the park, the triumphant return of the king. I booted it up, cracked my knuckles, and got ready to effortlessly style on a lobby full of newcomers. See, just like riding a bike, the muscle memory's still there. The flow, the confidence. It's all coming back, a true veteran never forgets. Okay, maybe the bike is missing its wheels, is currently on fire, and is rolling downhill into an active volcano. This is not the Flood Escape 2 I remember. What on earth happened to my game? Alright, let's rewind. The plan was simple. Ease back in with a few hard maps. Then dive headfirst into the insane category and reclaim my throne. In my head, the game was a solved problem. A series of patterns and jumps I'd already memorized. I remembered the difficulty tiers clearly. Easy, normal, hard, insane. It was a ladder I'd already climbed to the top of. I figured a few rungs might be a little dusty, but the ladder itself will be the same. The new map selection screen was a lot. Way more maps than I remembered, but that didn't scare me. It just meant more worlds to conquer. I scrolled past easy and normal with this massive little scoff. That's the tutorial. I'm here for the real deal. I found a hard map that looked cool. Something with a futuristic neon vibe I didn't recognize. Hard, I thought. Perfect warm-up. My confidence was soaring. I stepped into the elevator, ready to show everyone how a real pro does it. The doors opened. The countdown hit 0. And I sprinted forward, expecting that old familiar rhythm to just take over. I knew the core mechanics. Press buttons, platform to the end, don't drown. Easy enough. The water started rising, and I made my first jump, and my second. And then I hit a section that just shut me down. Completely. It wasn't just a jump, it was a sequence. A sequence that demanded a level of precision my brain had totally flushed from its memory. My first death was a genuine surprise. A splash, a sudden, dead silence. This wasn't a fluke. It was a pattern. A pattern of humiliating failure. The jumps were way tighter, the timings were more brutal, and the route were far less obvious than anything I could recall. It hit me that the basic language of the game had evolved. It wasn't just about jumping anymore. Modern hard maps expect you to have mastered moves that used to be reserved for pros showing off in videos. I was seeing gaps that were only clearable with a perfectly timed wall jump, immediately followed by a slide under some obstacle. Wall jumps. That used to be a neat little trick on a couple of maps. Now it felt like a core requirement. I was fumbling with the controls, trying to remember how to even start a slide, all while the lava was mercilessly creeping up my screen. It felt like learning how to write my name again, but with my wrong hand. Each failure was a new, painful lesson. Oh, you can't just climb this ladder. You have to do the fast climb trick or you'll run out of time. Oh, that's not a simple jump. You have to use your air momentum to drift around a corner. These weren't the hard maps I remembered. These were vicious obstacle courses designed to break your spirit. My memory was of a challenging but fair game. This felt personal. This felt like the game was looking right at me, a so-called veteran, and just laughing. The arrogance was completely gone, replaced by a grim, teeth-gritting determination. I spent what felt like an eternity on that one map. My quick warm-up had turned into a grueling siege. Every single section was a new puzzle and a new test of my reflexes. And then finally it happened. After countless fails, after memorizing every single stud of the path, after retraining my hands to perform this new symphony of wall kicks and slides, I did it. I hit the final button, the exit door swung open, and I sprinted through with maybe a fraction of a second to spare, the lava practically singeing my heels. The victory screen flashed. I hadn't just beaten the map, I had survived it. The feeling was electric. It wasn't the casual, easy win I was expecting. This was a hard-fought, sweat-soaked victory. I'd been humbled, broken down, and forced to rebuild my skills from scratch. And in that moment, I felt like a pro again, not because it was easy, but because it was ridiculously, absurdly difficult, and I had actually overcome it. That single victory was a shot of pure adrenaline. The confidence came flooding back, but this time it was different. It wasn't the cockiness of a player coasting on old memories. It was the earned confidence of someone who had just stared into the new, unforgiving heart of Flood Escape 2 and didn't back down. The rust was gone. The engine was warm. My baptism by fire was complete. Alright, no more messing around. Time for the main event. Time to go back to my old stomping grounds. It was time for Insane. If hard maps are a pop quiz, then today's Insane maps are the final exam, written in a language you don't speak, for a class you didn't even know you were taking. I picked a map the community only talked about in hushed, fearful tones. The second the round started, I knew I had made a terrible, terrible mistake. The difficulty spike wasn't a ramp, it was a sheer, vertical wall. The game demands a level of multitasking that feels almost inhuman. It's not one thing, it's everything, all at once. You're managing your air, navigating incredibly complex and disorienting paths, and pulling off parkour sequences that require a surgeon's precision, all while the flood is hunting you, and it is hunting you. It's faster, it's more aggressive, and it leaves zero room for error. One tiny mistake, one moment of hesitation, and your run is over. Let me try to break down just one part of this map for you. It started with a series of 4 wrap around jumps on single stud platforms. If you somehow survived that, you had to nail a perfect wall jump to a ladder. So, is Flood Escape 2 harder than I remember? Yeah, unquestionably. It's monumentally, fundamentally, and brutally harder. My nostalgia painted a picture of a fun, tough platformer. The reality is a punishing, precision-based gauntlet that demands near perfection. The game has evolved. While older maps are still there like monuments to a simpler time, the modern era of FE2 is defined by an ever-escalating arms race of difficulty. The community's growing mastery has pushed map creators to build levels that are more complex and demanding than I ever could have imagined. My memory wasn't a lie, it was just outdated. I remembered the game at its peak in my era, but I was completely unprepared for the new peak it has reached today. The game didn't just add more maps, it deepened its mechanics and raised its expectations to a level that's honestly staggering. Coming back wasn't like riding a bike. It was like showing up to a Formula 1 race with a tricycle. My ego is bruised. My hands are sore, but my respect for the game and its dedicated, unbelievably skilled community has never been higher. But that's my journey back into the flood. I really want to know if I'm the only washed up veteran out there. What was your reality check moment in Flood Escape 2? Let me know in the comments which map it was that finally humbled you and made you realize this just isn't the same game anymore. If you enjoyed watching me descend into a spiral of parkour-induced madness, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you want to see if I ever actually manage to conquer an insane map, maybe consider subscribing. For now, my pride is wounded, but the determination is there, I think. I think I need to go back to the hard lobbies for a little while, maybe even normal. You know what? There's no shame in an easy map, right?